Hi, hello. I'm a very nostalgic person, and today I want to build something that is very dear to my heart, and it's the biggest house in The Sims 1. Now, if like me, you played The Sims 1 when you were younger, you know that this house is the dream. This house has everything. It has a pool, it has massive bedrooms, and to be very frank with you, this house is still a big deal. To me, I still want this house, and that's why I'm building it in The Sims 4. You can find this house on Two Sim Lane in Neighborhood 1, which was the first neighborhood that ever came with The Sims. It's at that time was actually the only neighborhood that you got. And it's a big, kind of dark stone mansion. It has a bit of a weird floor plan for everyone who hasn't seen this house in a hot minute. Warning, it's very weird. Some rooms are really, really big. Like here, the upstairs landing is massive. It's bigger than two of the bedrooms, I think. Speaking of bedrooms, it seems to have four, but it could be three. Upstairs, there doesn't really seem to be a bathroom, which would be a little bit weird for such a big house. But then again, hey, we've seen Maxes deliver houses without toilets on certain floors. Anyway, downstairs there's a very clear bathroom, but upstairs there isn't really one. We're actually looking at the roof right now, and the roof was not a thing you could do yourself. In The Sims 1, you could just click a button and it would drop a roof on your house, which now that I think about it, is kind of weird that we don't have this feature anymore in The Sims 4. I think it would help a lot of people build houses a lot quicker. And for how ugly that idea kind of sounds, because it goes over diagonals, there's some double diagonals in this house, which makes the roof look even weirder. I actually think it looks sort of fine. I was really scared that this house would be really, really ugly in The Sims 4, but it actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it can use a grand makeover to really make it fit into The Sims 4 and kind of up the aesthetics a little bit, such that it's actually a really nice, large, sort of villa type of house. But I think it's not too bad, especially in a little bit when we go into the landscaping. I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with this house. At the back, though, you have these weird overhanging balconies, and I don't mind an overhanging balcony, but I think kind of what makes these weird is that they hang over diagonal walls and have some diagonal walls themselves, which just doesn't really work for a very good look, I think. Actually, back when The Sims 1 was first released, you couldn't access lots without playing them with a family, which meant that you can only access this house if you have a family that actually has the right amount of money, which in the beginning, if you didn't know the cheats, was quite a challenge. But yeah, I just used to use cheats and then move my Sims into this house. Or, I mean, sometimes I would play fair and would actually work with my Sims to make this happen. But I mean, more often I use cheats than not. We've actually, in the meantime, moved on to the pool in the back. It's a bit of a weird shaped pool. We'll get back to it in a little bit. Most of the paths in The Sims 1 are very oddly shaped. They used to do this for quite a while and then it just kind of stopped, where they would kind of almost zigzag paths and then put some flowers around both of the sides to, I suppose, make it look more interesting without really putting a lot of effort in the decoration. And I think for a lot of cases it actually really works. These hedges as well, they're kind of small in The Sims 4. We've had hedges like this in most of the installments, but in The Sims 4 they have just kind of different dimensions. They don't fill a full square tile. So I try to kind of fill it up with these low walls, kind of trying to mimic the planters that they have in The Sims 1. But yeah, as you see here, they're just hedges poking out here and there. Doesn't look great, so I actually go in a second. Yeah, this is where I realized that if I just use a single one in each one of these boxes, it looks a lot better. So I just go in and quickly rearrange these. Speaking of furniture in The Sims 1, I think most of the furniture that came with the expansion pack for The Sims 1 was wild. I mean, quite recently I actually fired up the game again and looked at all the items in the catalog, and there's just there's a lot of animals in there, like animal prints, animal rugs, animal wallpapers, which I think we still have a couple of them, but not as many. So obviously, when they actually introduced The Sims 4 Get Famous and a lot of these sort of animal type wallpapers came back, I was really excited to have this sort of Sims 1 vibe in The Sims 4, which I think is something that we've really, really missed. Even when I was younger and played The Sims 1, the main thing that I was excited about was the furniture that came with the packs. I remember when I was younger, my brother would buy the packs for me because obviously I was really young, I didn't have my own money, so I wouldn't be buying the packs myself, but my brother would take me out, and then once every while I was allowed to like pick a pack, especially if they were on sale. And I have a very vivid memory of, I know that both Superstar and Making Magic were already out, and I had to make a decision between the two of them. And I know that I've stood there for about 20 minutes deciding which pack I wanted. This is the part where I realised that the pool is wonky and doesn't match up to the original plan. It is a bit of an odd shaped pool, but it has a little island in the middle, which it has plants and a tree on it. Now, in real life, I'm already thinking of the practicalities of, think about the amount of leaves in your pool. Like, it would be a nightmare to clean. But actually, from a practicality standpoint in The Sims 1, I remember that these flowers would always wither because your Sims can't actually get to the island and water these plants. So these flowers would just die unless, I think there were some ways around it with some sort of like teleporting powers. But I just remember them dying all the time. And then another thing about this pool, it has 3 pool ladders. Now, I know that this is from a time where your Sims could still drown in a pool if there were no ladders. But in my opinion, having 3 still seems a little bit excessive. Anyway, I think there's a lot of wonky things about this house, but I just remember being really scared to demolish it back then. Now we have the gallery where we can save houses and then put them back in, but back then if you demolish something, it was gone. I used the other lot, which I think was 1 sim lane, to build my other own sort of mansions, but this one would always stay. Except for the one time, which this is amazing. There are actually downloadable families for The Sims 1, which I think a lot of people have never played with them. I've talked to a couple people and they always look at me weird, but there are Sims 1 families that you can download online, and they were released by Maxis. And there's actually one family that lives in the White House, and it's at 2 sim lane, so it's this lot, so it basically replaces this lot, and it consists of a bunch of agents. It was never my favorite downloadable family. That was definitely the Maximus family, but it was still a fun thing to do. Actually, onto the build, I see here I was struggling with the tiles. I tried to match the floors and the walls as good as I could. A lot of them had pretty good Sims 4 dupes, or whatever we want to call them. But the bathroom, so the bathroom in the Sims 1 version has these really sort of emerald green tiles. And especially because I'm only using base game for this build, I could not find tiles. So the only thing that I did was just find tiles that had a little bit of green in them, and then sort of use the same pattern of tiles on the floor and then ones that matched on the wall. I think that was the best thing that I could do. The landing has this weird thing, which I don't know why it's this shape, but I suppose it does kind of fill the room. We're actually getting towards the end. I'm just filling up the landscaping now, and I'll do a quick tour for you to actually see all of the individual rooms now. So here we are at 2 sim lane, all finished. You can see it's pretty big, and like I said, it's a little bit wonky. Some of the rooms have some odd shapes, and I think now that we have the Sims 4, we can actually place these windows in the middle a little bit more. Overall, I really have to say, I think I said it before, but I really think this didn't turn out as ugly as I thought it would. I think the landscaping actually helps a lot. I didn't know if I would like the sort of old-fashioned Sims 1 style of landscape in the Sims 4, but I love it. This house is amazing, and I think it's sort of timeless. It somehow still really works. I think there's some questionable wallpaper choices, but maybe that's also because the Sims 1 doesn't really translate to the Sims 4. View from above, there's a small bathroom down here. I suppose this would be your living room. I was first inclined to say that this is the kitchen because it has the tiles, but it has the floor to ceiling windows as well, which I think might be a little bit impractical if you have to put counters against the walls. So maybe they even intended for the kitchen to be right here in this area, and then have a small breakfast area here and make this a formal dining room. Upstairs, like I said, there's 4 bedrooms. This does look like a kid's room to me. It's the odd one out because it has a different flooring, but I think it is a kid's bedroom for sure. So overall, if you want to play in this house, I think it is ready to go in a sense that you can furnish it and it will work. If you really want to optimize it, you probably have to add a bathroom to the top floor and maybe change the windows slightly. You can download the house from my gallery. I've linked my ID below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.